What's up, guys? Today we're going to be working on the 67 Mustang. I know a lot of you guys have been seeing some videos and stuff with this kind of just sitting in the background. I know I kind of hinted at working on it, and now I'm finally able to start digging into it now that the new shop is pretty much ready to start doing some stuff in. Also going to be sharing with you a new tool I've been using to start stripping cars down, and I'm kind of new to it myself too, but also just what goes into the tear down. So first of all, let's take a look around and see what we got. All right, 67 Mustang. I'm sure you guys have seen tons of them. I personally love these cars. I think they're probably one of the best body styles for me personally. So as you can see right there, there's tons of damage on the fender and some rusted through spots where it's been, you know, kind of flaking off due to the damage probably. And then up here in the front, there's actually a pretty good amount of damage. It almost looks as if something was hit. I don't know that for sure, but there is a pretty good sized dent in that. So again, I think just getting a new fender will be the solution for that. So the only concerning thing I've seen so far that's going to be any kind of extensive repair is this front piece that goes across here. That's going to require some pretty extensive stuff, but so that's going to be the only thing that gets very extensive, is going to be cutting off this front piece that comes all the way up here, and it's the main support for all this stuff right here. It's like a front subframe. I don't know what the technical name on it is for these Mustangs, but also you have your typical rust right there where the battery sits, but luckily for us, they make pretty much everything for this car, so this is not going to be a problem at all getting this thing back to where it needs to be. The inside is rough. I haven't pulled all the interior pieces out to get a good look at what's going on, but this side, much less damage. You can see that. So this side's actually fairly straight. And then the back of it, I don't see any concerning things either. There's your typical spots on the floor that I'm gonna have to fix up. Again, this is just really to get down to see what we're dealing with and start making some parts orders. It is going to be a fairly extensive build. The guy is going to be building the engine and stuff, so mainly the main thing to worry about here is just going to be the body, getting it back solid again. So yeah, we're going to start with the tear down, basically pull all the nasty stuff out of the car and just start bagging and tagging stuff, and then we'll have a better idea of what we're dealing with. All right, guys, you can probably see how this is going. I had to cut the driver's side fender off. The rust pretty much made the fender and the bolts that mount from the bottom there, those are always rusty, or normally always rusty, and those were like fused together, so I had to cut the fender just to get that off of there. So which honestly, the fender needs replaced on both sides anyway, so it's not that big of a deal. And I probably could have worked around it and just cut the bolt, but knowing that we were going to get a new fender anyways, not that big of a deal. Getting to see a little bit more of it though, and it is it's a rusty mess, but they do make everything that we should need for this car. So the bumper support on the other side, it just completely twisted and fell down there. So that's just what kind of level of rust we're looking at here. But of course, anytime you do this, you're going to be evicting mice normally. So there's a little nest, a little good look at what we might run into inside the frame rails and stuff. But yeah, also this through here is pretty shot, so we're probably gonna have to get a lot of sheet metal for this thing. So, but again, they do make most of this stuff. Actually, they do. They make pretty much everything that we would ever need. So that's the very nice thing that we have on our side here. Oh my goodness, this seat is rough. You can tell they just ate a hole right in that. Okay, well hopefully that's the whole family. Thankfully, I don't think we have any live ones, but yeah, this is lovely. This is a tool that I've been new to. It's by Eastwood. It's called the Contour SCT, and pretty much it's just got this big barrel on it. It's kind of got the same very coarse fiber as a prep disc does, where you'd put on a grinder or something like that. As you can see, you kick it on, and it just starts spinning up. So I recently purchased this, and I've been using it a little bit just to kind of prep metal for some primer, but I haven't fully stripped a car with it. So that's basically what we're going to test this thing for today, is just how quickly this thing can just start eating through this paint. One of the reps I spoke to at Eastwood told me that this would be way better than anything else that I'd been using in the past, and they said I could probably strip the entire car down in a day or two with 3 of these little drums. So I can't remember what these drums cost right now. They're not too expensive whatsoever. The tool I got on a discount, so I was very happy with that. All right guys, we got everything ready to go here, and definitely wear a mask for this, or respirator, because it's going to be flinging dust like crazy. So ideally you would want respirator and possibly even some goggles, because I'm telling you, this stuff's going to go everywhere. So again, the coarsest drum that you can find for these, and this is what they recommended just for stripping this thing down quickly. I'm gonna leave the camera on like the normal speed setting for now, just so you guys get an idea how quickly this will work, and then I'll speed it up towards the end. Yeah, honestly, that's not bad at all. That looks great. So you're already starting to see some metal here. And I don't feel any warmth in the panel. I'm trying to move it around. If you get any heat in the panel, especially too much heat, then that's when you start to get distortion and stuff like that. So you definitely want to keep this thing moving around. A lot of the videos you watch on these, it'll just have it going in one strip until it's all the way down to bare metal. I would probably not do that, because staying in one spot for way too long and just really slow like that can put way too much heat in it. You get all kinds of distortion, and that causes all kinds of problems. So I'm gonna put you on a time lapse, and then we're gonna knock this whole trunk out. All right guys, so slowly making my way through all this stuff, and as you can see, like down here in the corner, there's some filler in there, and then there's a bunch of pinholes. But we have some body filler right here, body filler right there, and tons of scratches through this area. So that shows you that somebody has been block sanding on here, more than likely, because they're all kind of like in a straight line. So that's super common. It looks like somebody used like zero grit or something, because it's crazy deep, but not that big of a deal. You got your normal dings and all this other stuff around here. But yeah, for the most part, and you got some kind of crease going through here. That lighting is showing it pretty good. So, but honestly, pretty normal stuff. This is honestly what I would expect to see. And then this is unfortunate, but it's part of it. I expected to see something like that. All right, guys, so we're gonna try to work on pulling this glass out. And the way this trim is held in is there's these little tabs, and they essentially just snap over. There's a little pin that usually holds these on, and then the trim just snaps right over top of that. So if you look at the trim, you've got this piece over here, and then it's got this end that's beveled like that at the end, so that it will slide right over top of the other pieces. Same thing with down here. So you can usually look and tell which side would be easier to start on, and since this piece was just right on top, it's real easy. So we're just starting down there. So next you can see that this piece all the way down through here is laying on top of this piece. So basically we're just going to pop this out, starting with this edge, work it all the way back here, and it should be able to snap out. But we're just going to work our way around the whole front glass like that, and should be pretty easy. All right, guys, as you can see, back window's out. And you might have seen, I don't know, it's a time lapse, so it's pretty quick. I do use another little technique if the stuff is really dry rotted, like this piece you can hear real crusty. So what I like to do is always use plastic, don't use metal. It's gonna scratch the glass. And then use something, don't use a normal hammer, use a rubber mallet or something. Wood would probably be fine as well. But you want to make sure that it's as delicate as possible. But sometimes you can just break these off into some huge chunks. And again, I mean, you can tell just how hard that stuff is. So the way I like to do it is just kind of put this in behind the seal. And obviously this would be with the glass on. And just strike it a few times. It'll normally pierce right through there, and it'll snap off in chunks like this. So that is another way to do it. I tried cutting through it first, and the rubber was so bad it was actually breaking the tips off my utility knife. So if it's doing that kind of stuff, then you know, one, you can usually look and see. So you can see that this is all kind of snapped into sections, and that just means it's super brittle. So, I mean, even as you're taking this stuff off the inside, it'll fall down in one piece like that. So, all right, guys, so with all the welding and everything that we're gonna have to be doing back here, I'd rather not blow the new shop up. So the tank has to come out of there, and this is probably one of my least favorite jobs, or least favorite parts of the job. Let's see how great this smells. Oh, shooey. Yeah, it's been in there forever. That's much better. All right, guys, so with that tank out, we're gonna be able to see exactly what we're working with back here. And if you take a look around, there's tons and tons of corrosion back here. But it is not the worst thing I've ever seen, I'll tell you that. And obviously there's the biggest problem is down here. So I'm definitely going to be sanding down towards the bottom of this quarter panel and see how extensive that's gonna be. All right, guys, so we got most of the quarter stripped down, and we can see here that not the best shape. And when you start seeing stuff like this, you know it's been repaired in the past. So I don't know what method they used to repair it, but I mean, you can almost tell how thin it is, you know, up a decent ways there. So that is definitely gonna have to get fixed. And then the back here honestly doesn't look too bad. So let's pop this back open, and then you got a lot of problems down there. I think what was done here was they used fiberglass mat on the back side. And I think maybe they even did some on the front side. So with that, I mean, what I've noticed is anytime somebody uses some kind of like fiberglass mat on steel, it never works right. So if you're gonna be making a repair like this, obviously I can show you how I'll do it whenever we go through here and put on the new quarters and the wheel arches and the drop down, or the drop off over here on the side of the trunk. All right, so really the biggest question now is how far spread is this back here and all the way up here? Do I need to repair all this or just little sections? And I'm thinking that it's gonna have to be pretty much the entire floor, or the trunk floor here. So, which that's not a big deal. Sometimes you just have to weigh out, is it, you know, gonna be easier to repair this little section, or is it so bad all over that it's just gonna be more beneficial to just replace the entire thing? And I think this is one of those scenarios where it's probably better to just do as much as you possibly can. Okay, so this is another thing here. So this was done, and honestly, like from up here, it doesn't look too bad at all. But then whenever you go underneath the car, you can tell it was just kind of like laid over top of the hole and welded. For a quick fix, not too bad, but this is not something that you want to, you know, be running around like this for several years, and it just eventually gets rusty, and you end up with stuff like that. So up here you can see where another patch was done. That whole section has to come out, and then the whole section underneath that has to come out up here. So this whole section with everything you can actually get with the apron, the frame rails, the shock towers, all that stuff's already welded on it. So it's just one big piece that goes in there. So what'll probably have to happen here, and again, I'm going to show you as I go through this whole thing, so make sure that you subscribe to the YouTube channel, because like every single step of this whole process is going to be put on here. So since all this is getting cut out, I'm going to have to go in and brace it up, make sure that nothing twists or get out of alignment. So basically I'll have to come up with a structure that keeps this in place all the way over to here, and that'll give us an idea where this is all going to go. All right, now we're going to talk a little bit about this. So when I went and bought this, they said that this would speed up the amount of time it took to strip all this down, and I can tell you it does. They also said that I would need like 3 of these barrels to do an entire car. You see how much I've already gotten done here, and this is the second barrel. So, or drum, I don't know what they call it. I think it's actually called a drum. So I definitely agree, this thing's working pretty good. All right, so where this thing is the best is on these little contours here. This drum will sit in there perfectly, and you can get all the way up to there without having to use any other kind of sander. I mean, that is one thing that is specific to this. I don't think I've ever seen anything else that goes all the way up into a contour like this and does it nicely. So as far as stripping goes, I was using this. A lot of people call these mud hogs. It is just a geared orbital sander. I think it's 8 inches, yeah. I use this a lot. This is a good tool to, you know, if I'm gonna come in here, I'm gonna fill in all these dings, then I'm gonna hit it real quick with that just to get it kind of close, and then I'll go through and then block sand it afterwards. So that's why the flat disc right there is amazing. So, but I think as far as stripping the car down, because you can tell I use this on this quarter right here, and I got all the way down into that wheel arch, and that's another area that is very hard to get with your normal sander. So my honest review of this, I think it is everything that they told me it was. I love it already. I'm glad to add it to my collection of tools that I can use to prep cars with, and I think it's going to save me a lot of time. If you're interested in trying this out, again, it is Eastwood, and it is the Contour SCT. Go check it out, especially if you do this stuff all the time. This is going to save you a ton of time, and it just leaves this beautiful finish. There's several other drums that you can get for that. Again, this is not any kind of like paid promotion or anything like that. I just like to recommend products that I think will help you in your projects, and this is definitely one of those. All right, guys, I know I look crazy right now. I've been wearing a respirator all day, and if you know anything about respirators and beards, they don't mix. So that's why I look like the lion off of The Wizard of Oz. But we've got the paint booth framed up on both of the walls here. I'm gonna show you that. All right, so this is on the far end of the new building. And I've been wanting to frame up my own paint booth and build a paint booth. I know I said I'd be giving you guys some updates, so I wanted to give you an idea what this was gonna look like. So we kind of stopped at the header that's gonna go up there above the door opening. And then basically we'll frame in the ceiling, because there will be a ceiling that drops down probably like 3 to 4 foot from the ceiling right there. So that's making this wall 10 foot tall. So this is going to be a very large paint booth. We'll then go in and frame between each of the posts, and that's where we're gonna put all of our drywall on, and then we'll have to take out the window right there, and that is gonna be where the exhaust fan is gonna go, which all this stuff has already arrived. So we're just gonna kind of work on it little by little whenever we have some free time. All right guys, again, this is the first video for the 67 Mustang. So I'm gonna create a playlist like I always do for these builds. And this is gonna be a full-blown thing. So it's gonna be start to finish. Every video is gonna be uploaded and put into that playlist. So if you wanna see everything from here until paint, until it's pulling out the door, make sure that you subscribe to the YouTube and go check out that playlist. Also, if you have any input on the paint booth and how everything's set up, make sure you leave that down in the comments too. I like to hear what you guys think. Other than that, thanks for watching. Make sure that you're subscribed to the YouTube channel, and I will catch you in the next one.